right, all right, all right. I don't want to rant too much today. I have actually interview I'm going to play from that I did with Mr. Ed Begley, the vocalist and guitar player from Tattoo Billy, kind of a country rockabilly band out of Ohio. Somebody I've been following for years. He's done some. He's raised some money for South African farmers through boxing matches back in the day, and I had met him just on Facebook via social media back in 2014, 2015, and he came to mind the other day, so I reached out to him, and he and I started talking, chatting back and forth, and I decided to have him on to talk about his music career. Um, I'm going to start the interview kind of like halfway through the recording, just because like we were just kind of BSing at the beginning. And it was like, I was like, whatever. It's nothing crazy. We were just talking a little bit about South Africa and his travels there and stuff like that. And, you know, he's not a public figure so much anymore. And, though he does plan on coming out with another record. And I was just like, we don't need it was just kind of like a BS conversation. It wasn't anything crazy. So I'm gonna pick it up when we start talking about his music and kind of like go that way. Just kind of have like kind of a relaxed little chat there for that. But I thought it was I ran into some statistics earlier. It's wild. I got them on my phone. I'll just pull them up and read them off my phone. But it was something like I want to say it was 40% of adult American citizens cannot find Canada on a globe. 40% of adult American citizens cannot find Canada on a globe. And then 28% of US adults scored at or below level one literacy. Level one literacy means you can read short sentences with basic information but struggle with complex texts. 28% at or below. Below level one, 21% below level one. They're considered functionally illiterate. 21% of adults in the United States are considered functionally illiterate. They're unable to read simple text or complete basic forms. 21%. These people vote. These people vote. Yet, what is that? 49%. 49% of Americans struggle with complex text. 49%. And we let them vote. Yeah, because the complexity of politics is so much simpler than figuring out where the protagonist and antagonist cross paths in a novel. I mean, these people probably couldn't even tell you what protagonist and antagonist mean in their voting. They're determining the political whims of the United States. 49% of the US struggle with complex texts, and we let them vote. We don't only let them vote, we encourage them to vote. This is a serious issue in this country. You can like the Democrats, the left, they're pushing for 16-year-olds to be able to vote. They want illegal immigrants to be able to vote. And oh well, no, not really, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, okay. You don't count somebody who said asylum or claims refugee status as an illegal immigrant, but they are. They're not illegal immigrants. They haven't immigrated here legally. They just come in and say a word, and you just kind of let them run free. They make claims. Most of the time, it gets overturned by the courts, and they are giving orders to deport and are never deported. I mean, it's changed a bit since Trump's been in office, but I mean, we understand what has been going on in the nation. And we have all these people that can't read at a level to understand basic texts, to fill out forms, yet we're supposed to let them vote. They're supposed to understand the complexity of world events and cultural events and the things that are going on in the nation that impact every person in the nation. And we just let them vote. These are the people that vote themselves money. They want to take, these are the this is the parasite class that is constantly leeching off of the productive class of the United States and voting to for welfare benefits and for universal health care and all these parasitic legislations that suck us dry, that lead to $37 trillion in debt and growing. These people have no business driving a car, let alone voting. In the set, what was it in the 60s? It was in the early 20th century. These people wouldn't have been allowed to have children. The progressives decided that they were going to kill, to commit infanticide, and to sterilize all these people with these low IQs. These people that are that have the inability, aren't able to function in society in any manner whatsoever, and they have the right to vote. They have the right to choose the legislators that pass laws that affect all of us. This is insanity. We really got to get this shit in order. This is it's fucking wild. No, let alone like the complete destruction of the education system and how the education system has let these people down. These people can't function in society. They can't read. They don't know where Canada is of all things. Like if you don't know where like Somalia is, okay, I'm okay. If you can't pick out Ukraine on a map, I'm like, all right, that's fair. That's all the way across the world. You don't know where Israel is on the map. You don't know where the fuck Canada is? I'd like to know how many of those motherfuckers live in Michigan. It's like Canada's right there. You don't know where Canada. Like, what the fuck are we doing in this country? It is fucking insane, man. It is absolutely nuts that we give these people the right to vote, the privilege of voting. The privilege that should be withheld for net taxpayers only, not some bum that collects welfare and sits on the couch smoking crack, doing meth. The only people that should be voting are net taxpayers. And there should be a literacy exam. I mean, Jesus, have them like take a civics class before they actually like vote. I mean, come on, man. This is insanity. And these are the numbers from 2023. It could be much worse today. Like, we don't even know. We make fun of people in the 40s because it was something like 60% of them couldn't write their names. Shit, we got 49% of the country that can't read a fucking novel today. But the people in the 1800s, they couldn't write their name. Who fucking cares? They didn't vote. Landowners voted, not some fucking retard. It was landowners. And we're encouraging these people to go out and vote. Well, it's a right. No, it's not a fucking right, man. It's not. We got to get over this. It's not a right to vote. I mean, even if you're like, yeah, sure, you can vote, but your vote doesn't count for worth shit. And this is how you end up getting like an oligarchical class that is like ruling over and completely ignoring the desires of the American people. Because you're letting retards go out there and fucking place a vote and say that their voice matters just as much as somebody who's informed. No, there should be some sort of legit like civics test that has to be has to happen before you are able to get your goddamn voter card. Like you should be able to like pass basic like government understanding of like political science. I didn't even go to college. I did all this shit on my own and figured out all this stuff on my own. I didn't have to go to college to figure it out. You don't have to have a degree to do this. But you got to have some sort of ability to like deconstruct like messaging and to interpret what is being told to you. But no, fucking these guys can't even read Oliver Twist. Jesus Christ. I'm sorry. It just shocked me. And I was just like, I got to rant about that for a second. But here's my interview with Ed Begley. It's about, I don't know, this will be about 40 minutes or something like that. And so we'll get that going right now. I'm going to hit the share. Share. We're not only we're going to share it at content only, and we're going to share sound. Make sure I do all this right so I don't have to go back and edit sound in. I had to do that on an episode a while back. I'm sure y'all figured out which one that was. That was not a fun experience. So, oh look, my eyes half closed in the middle of saying something. So here we go. Yeah, we're going about what? 39 minutes. So enjoy. So I want to shift to talk music. I thought it would be fun to just kind of have like some chill time to talk some music on here too. I was texting back and forth with a buddy of mine who plays in a rockabilly band down in up in Austin, and we're talking about the different influences that we could hear in your music, and you have that song I think it came out last year called "Back in Country."
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I was like, I sent that to him. I said, "Who's this remind you of?" And he goes, "I don't know. Like, who are you thinking?" And I was like, "The Doors." I was like, I can
Oh,
hear like this, like kind of psychedelic kind of Doors style of instrumentality behind the vocal, right?
oh, I
But
like
then,
it. That's pretty cool.
and then you listen to something like Southern Comfort State of Mind, and that's just old school country, you know?
Yeah, now that's my dad singing in that one. So he
Was
was
it?
a more of a yeah, he's more of
That's an
that
awesome song.
traditional. Yeah, it is. That's a good one. That's a good one. He's a great singer. I'm more of a whenever I played out, and I haven't played out in a while, but when I played out a lot, I was more known as a performance, more performance art than as a great singer. He was just a great singer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
His voice could fall into anything. He could sing soul music or the country music, and it really didn't change the tone of his voice any. It just like he could sing it and make it his own. I mean,
Mm,
he was a really great singer. And
yeah.
my wife sings with me too. She's the girl you're hearing sing on Back in Country with me.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
my wife.
And
But yeah, I was more
then you have
performance art.
that there's that song Dirt Poor.
Oh yeah,
That
yeah, that's
the
off my demos. Yeah,
the riff on that reminds me of like
uh,
Nirvana, like old Nirvana.
yeah, and those were all demos I recorded, and I just released them just for posterity's sake. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And so I have recorded all those in an apartment and really cheap. You know, you can hear it in the recordings. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like
And
an old
yeah,
school
those,
four track and yeah.
yeah, yeah, it was all on tape, and
Yeah.
it was just like I could never get the right kind of guys to get together because I played with country music guys, and I
Mm.
was like, it's like these were rock songs, and I couldn't get nobody to play them, and I was like, I'll just record demos and just throw them out there. I had them recorded for years, and then I just released them. You know what I mean? I think I recorded them like in '99 or 2000, so that might explain a little bit of that Nirvana feel because they influenced me a little bit. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
there was a light like you had I think one of the songs was called Fight. Am I
Yeah,
Yeah. And that reminded me of a old 90s song too. And I was like, "Oh, this is some good stuff." But you bring
I
that like
appreciate
kind of
that.
like that twang in your vocals too. So you kind of got that rockabilly kind of style. There's a little bit of punk influence in there, but yeah, I
Yeah.
liked it. I was talking to my buddy yesterday. We were chatting about that last night.
Yeah, I was a big punk guy. I love the Misfits. I love the, you know what I mean, all that early type. And then I liked a lot of the screamo bands that came out, you know, in the early 2000s. You know what I
Mm.
mean, like Census Failed and groups like that. And then always liked the Cure and you know the the post punk bands. You know what I mean. It's like I had a lot of stuff I liked. You know what I mean.
Yeah.
And and sometimes it does. You absorb it, and you're like I guess everybody's like a sponge, and you don't realize it comes out when you write something, you know.
Hmm.
So yeah, but yeah, I love like the Cure, the Smiths too. A lot of new bands too. There's this one. They're from London, and man, they're really good. They're called Spy Camera,
Oh, really?
and yeah, they're really good. They have this song that's called Two Face MFer. You know, I mean, I
Yeah.
hate saying the dirty word, but it's really, really good. It got a lot of good material. And another bander from your Galway, if I can't pronounce it right, but they're called Hangwire. They're another band I like. They got a song out called Fun Machine, and it's kind of got that post punk kind of feel to it too. But
Mm.
you know, and they're newer bands, but really good. That's what I like about the internet nowadays because you're not being fed from the record labels anymore. Like this is what you're going to eat, and you're going to like it whether you like, you know, whether you do or not. You know,
Right.
you're not getting anything else. So I like to be able to pick up and find a band that nobody knows or ever heard of, and they got great music. I'm like, man, this band's great, you know.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I
Do you,
appreciate that.
yeah, are you still playing?
We are just now getting back up. I took actually took maybe a couple years off
Hmm.
and because it became there it was so oversaturated with bands and just it was hard to get in any venues without cutting my throat, you know, on price and a lot of good talent, you know what I mean. And they're younger. I'm getting
Yeah.
older. I'm 53. You know what I mean. So it's very competitive. It's harder when you're getting in my age, unless you're surrounded by a bunch of good-looking guys. You know what I mean, or girls or whatever to help you get shows. You know,
Right.
so but yeah, we're getting ready. We're going to jam with some guys this Saturday and see where it goes. I'm thinking about. I don't know if I'm going to keep the moniker Tattoo Billy going outside of just recording stuff and releasing it, and we might dive into some kind of new name because that's been one of the things that's held us up because most of the original members are dead now in Tattoo Billy.
Hmm.
So every time I do the Tattoo Billy thing, I have to get everybody in. They got to learn the songs, and it becomes, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
quite the tour to get all the, you know, because you need at least, you know, 12 songs down of Tattoo Billy that you can use as opener, plus what other cover songs you're going to do. You know what I mean? And usually, when me and Dad played, we were fortunate enough we did majority all original stuff when Dad was alive. So we did 22 originals a night and like eight or nine cover songs,
Mm.
and nobody knew the difference.
Right.
They didn't know all the music, but they were like, "Man, this stuff's rocking." They had a good time with it. Then half
Right.
the time we wouldn't announce them as like this is an original we wrote or anything like that. And then people would be like, "Who wrote that?" Well, that's one of ours. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and we just spring it on them like that. But we had a real good run of me and Dad. I mean, we opened up for a lot of national acts. We toured around in this van. It about killed me, going here and there, and feel like you're beat to death by the time you got someplace you were supposed to play, you know. But it was fun. I wouldn't trade it for the world, all those memories.
When so y'all started the band in the 80s, right?
Yeah, I think it was like 88, 89,
Okay.
and I
And
was still in
y'all
high school.
and when did your dad pass away?
He passed away 2014.
Okay. Okay. So
So that was a crazy year uh, because that was the year I did my fight.
hmm.
And about in July or June, my wife passed away at that time.
Oh man.
And then it was like maybe a month later, my dad was diagnosed with brain cancer.
Oh man.
And so when that fight was going on, the promoter was like, "Hey, we'll cancel this fight, man. You've had so much stuff happen to you. You know what I mean?" I was like, "No way." I said, "I've trained for this fight for too long. I'm going to do the fight, you know."
Right.
But
Right.
Dad died like maybe not long after that fight. He may have lasted maybe a couple more months, and then he passed away after that fight in 2014.
And how long was he touring with you?
We started in 88, 89, and it kind of took off pretty good. At first, we didn't decide it as Tattoo Billy right off the bat. So we
Hmm.
were like going around and we'd play, and if we bombed, we would use that name. Like at one point, we were called Little Chicago
Hmm.
because the town we lived in is called Little Chicago.
Oh,
It's
okay.
Hamilton, Ohio, and a bunch of gangsters used to come there and and hide out, bank
Mm,
robbers, John Dillinger, Pretty Boy Floyd, all them cats, and
gotcha.
they would hide out there in Hamilton. So they start calling it Little Chicago was the nickname to it. So we played under that moniker until we wore it out, and back then there was no internet. There was, you know what I mean. So we'd wear that name out to where nobody want us, and then we'd go get a new name and new cards made up, and go back to the same venues and get jobs right back. And we come back in, and they'd be like, "Hey, when you that band that was here last time?" And we kept doing that until we were a pretty tight band. We were, but it was funny because at first we would bomb out. We would, we get up and we'd be playing because back then the shows were 9 to 2:30 in the morning.
Hmm.
So you played at 9 o'clock at night till 2:30 in the morning. So, and we just get up and we just like, okay, this one's out of A, and we'd start playing a whole lot of shaking, or we'd start playing just a lot of those old rock and roll, rockabilly type songs like that. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And I think that's where a lot of that rockabilly kind of came in a little bit into my writing styles because that's what we survived on when we first started playing because they were the easy 3 chord type of songs that one song was almost just like the other. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
and they're so catchy and
And they're
fun,
so catchy. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I love that old uh, rock and roll type of stuff that we did back then. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
It wouldn't go now. You know what I mean? The whole bar scene back then. If you wasn't playing country, you wasn't playing.
Hmm.
You know.
Yeah.
And I was a rocker, so I quit playing rock and roll music and started playing country with Dad just because I couldn't get any shows as a rock and roller. No matter how
Yeah.
good the band was, there was no place to play. So I started doing that, and I was making as much money after we started rolling. I was making as much money playing music as I was working 40 hours in a shop.
Yeah.
We played out. There were so many places once you got into the market of it. You know what I mean? We and they would sign contracts with you back then. So we signed a contract at the Moose where we played at the Moose for like 3 days a week, Thursday,
Hmm.
Friday, and Saturday for 6 months, and
Right.
then we played at a skating ring on Saturday morning. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
I remember hearing the story. I can't remember who told me this. I want to say it was one of my grandpa's friends. So my grandpa played in a band years ago. Like he's passed away a long time ago, but he played in a band called Southern Storm down in the
Mhm.
Louisiana area, and they would tour Louisiana, Mississippi. They'd go into Arkansas, and but he had a lot of friends that were like top tier musicians. Like he knew the Carpenters and like he knew a lot of these people. And I remember I think we were at the Bluegrass Festival one year. We were talking to one of his friends, and one of his friends said, he's like, yeah, 5 nights a week I play bars, and then Saturday morning I'll do a skating rink. Saturday evening I'll do another bar, and then Sunday morning I'll play the church service. He's like, I'm playing music 7 days a week.
7 days a
So
week.
I'm doing
That's how you got the.
eight gigs 7 days a week. That's what he was saying.
Yep. That's how you make the living out of it. And I got a lot of friends now that's all they do, but they're playing every day in some shape, some form. I got one friend, his name's Rusty Wilmot, man, and he plays all over the place. That's what he does for a living. And they're called they're like a Cure tribute band.
Mm,
They do that, and then they play 2 bands. They switch from one to the other, so they'll play as the Cure, and then they
mm,
play as another band, and they're just so good. We seen them up here. They came by in Cincinnati. They're based out of Florida, but they played Ludnuts down here in Cincinnati, and man, they tore it up. And or this band right here, we see them a lot. They're called Hairball, and they're a phenomenal band like that too. They got a tour bus. They travel all over the place. It's my wife's client. It's her nephew. It's in the band, and
Hmm.
they're phenomenal. Like they'll come out on do 3 songs. They dress up just like Kiss. Then they'll go off stage, come back out. They're dressed up like AC/DC. They go off stage, they come back out, and they'll be like Prince or Freddie Mercury, and
Yeah.
just phenomenal. They got like 2 or 3 singers, you know what I mean, and just they're an amazing talent, and they're based out of Minnesota, so they've like played at the Vikings game, and
Oh,
Gene
cool.
Simmons has been up on stage with them and stuff like that. But yeah, if you ever get a chance, or if you're out in that area, you got to check them out. Hairball.
Yeah, I don't drive over the road anymore. I try to stay in Texas anymore. So
Yeah,
unless I'm
Texas.
go
We played there.
unless I'm going to South Africa, I'm pretty much staying in Texas.
It's kind of like Texas, ain't it?
It's more like Louisiana. Which I was there. I was in New Orleans with my son a couple of months ago in July. We went down to New Orleans for the fights, UFC fights down there, and watched Dustin Poirier's retirement fight, and that was a lot of fun.
Oh, cool.
Got to take
Yeah,
him to show him some of the underground metal scene down in New Orleans. The stuff I grew up
yeah,
doing. You know.
yeah. New Orleans. I've been there. I've only been once, but man, it's a cool little town. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Yeah,
And
it's a cool
stuff.
place.
Yeah, we stayed down there. I think it was off Decatur Streets where we stayed at.
Mm,
So it was like right by the trolley. You can just walk out, jump right on the trolley, and
yeah.
take off.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a cool town.
And so y'all started touring in '89. You toured till when?
I We kind of slowed down just because that's how the business is, and we were just playing shows. But our tour went like all week long. We would tour the weekends. We go
Right.
do shows out of town. Like we played Gatlinburg, and we did that a 2 day show at a few motels down there, which is crazy because I tell everybody, I've, as a band, we played like 4 different places. After we played them, they wound up burning down. And one was Gatlinburg. The 2 motels we played down there wound up burning down in the Gatlinburg
Damn.
fire. And then a place called New Dilly's we played at, it wound up burning down. And then there's a place
Oh
called
man.
Uncle Sam's we played at, it wound up burning down. And then there's this one place, it was crazy. This place it was from the 1920s, and it was in Hamilton. It was called, I can't remember the name of it, but it was on the address was 666 Hooven Street.
Hmm.
And we're like, that's kind of weird. So we played this place, and we came in, and they're like, this is kind of shows that they were like crazy shows. They're like, you got, we got in there, and we're like, oh, so we started setting up. They're like, no, you're not playing out here. You're going to play back here behind the black door. We're like, oh, okay. So we go back there. We open the black door open. There's this whole big, huge other spot. And then we flip the light on. There's like a stage there. There's a pole for like pole dancing there. All these couches set up. We're like, what the heck? So
There's a chain link fence like
yeah,
between you and the crowd.
that was my first show with my dad. I actually wrote a song about that. It was called Daddy Done It This Way. And I talk about that in the song. But we got in there and we started playing. And they had us in the newspaper, and we were doing like a CD release party. I think it was for Ghost of Outlaws. So we're in there. We had a pretty decent crowd, you know what I mean? It was kind of packed out, and all of a sudden, all the guys started leaving, you know, and the only thing left there was the very few women that ever came out, and they were with their husbands that probably wanted to come. We never was like a band that drew out women or anything like that. You know what I mean? There were like
Right.
12, maybe 12, 13 girls that were left there looking all mad, and I'm like, huh, so I wonder what's going on. And a friend of mine named Rudy come in and goes, oh, you're not going to believe what's happened in the other room. I'm like, huh, what's going on? He goes, someone, you have to come see this. I walk in the other room. There's the barmaid. She's rolling around on the pool table without her underwear on and a dress, like a short mini dress.
Hmm.
So all the guys, everybody was watching us left and went into the other room to watch this girl roll around. So I was like, all right, that's it. I was like, let's break the equipment down. And then at that time, the owner showed up at the bar. He goes, well, you guys are already quitting? I was like, yeah. I said, I can't. My band cannot compete with your barmaid rolling around out here without her underwear on. I was like, we're done for tonight.
Yeah, it's
But yeah, we had
crazy.
like a lot
Well, I
crazy
was just
shows like that.
yeah, I was just gonna say it's crazy the stuff you see at at small shows. You're just
Oh yeah,
like, this is this even reality?
yeah. We played one too, and then we're like, oh, we want you guys to play this sexy Santa show. We're like, all right, yeah, that sounds pretty cool. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So we show up, and we're hooked up, and at the midpoint, they're like, okay, all the women's going to come out in their lingerie. Then we're like, okay. So we're playing a song as they walk out, and we're like, holy smokes. We were thinking, we wish these women to get their clothes back. It was one of those. You're like, well, I don't know if it's sexy here.
That's
Uh,
wild.
yeah,
So,
it was
so what are y'all going to be doing coming up? Like you said, you're getting everything back together. Are y'all going to be writing some new material, or
we
just
yeah, we're gonna try to do some new material, and we're gonna hook up with these one guys we used to play with. So we might be running two things. And the one guys we used to play with, we did like a lot of like Led Zeppelin, mostly cover driven.
mm,
And so we'll hook up with them, and then we got another group we're going to hook up with for a more original type of thing. But we're probably not going to be as Tattoo Billy. I'll still release like a single a year as Tattoo Billy, or two, maybe two. Like the Frisky Whiskey video. Did you get to see that one?
yeah, yeah, I've seen that one.
Yeah. So we'll still do like stuff like that. Release maybe some singles a year of Tattoo Billy, just to keep it in posterity's sake. But that one was a cool one too. That was crazy. I met Jonathan Joss years ago, and then I got to talking to him again at some point. I think it was through Facebook, and I met him like years ago, and lost his number. And he's like, "Hey, how you been?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I've been doing good." And so I got this new song, and I sent it to him. He goes, "Man, I'd like to make that video." I said, "Dude, I ain't got no money." And he was like, "Well," he goes, "I'm not worried about the money." He goes, "I want to make this video." You know what I mean? I was like, "Well, that's cool." I said, "If we can get it into a reasonable price range," I said, "that'd be fine." And he did. So he's the one that directed it and all that. And it's a shame about him getting murdered. You've heard about that too, I'm
Oh,
sure.
I didn't hear
But
about that. What happened?
yeah, he got killed back in June. He got murdered, but great actor. I mean, he was Bad Face in Tulsa King, the
Hmm.
voice of John Redcorn,
Yeah.
and Magnificent Seven. Just a great actor. But yeah, my whole career was like, you meet people, and and you're like, well, you always wonder, how do I wind up where I'm at now?
Yep.
When you're in that business, because things just happen, and like we had a song in a movie. It was called "Kiss of the Vampire," and I'm kind of naive. You know what I mean? I'm kind of country guy. I'm not. I don't catch on to everything that's going on around me. So we're doing that movie, and so they come over to the house to a bunch of them one night. The guys in the movie and group, guys like that, and I noticed they kept talking in a different language. You know, and the editor of the film, real nice guy named David, and I was like, yeah. It's like, man, I never noticed that. These guys speak two different languages. He goes, yeah. And he goes, they're speaking Sicilian. I was like, oh, so that's pretty cool. It's like Italian, right? Well, yeah, it's kind of like Italian, it's Sicilian, different region of Italy. And it's like, oh, okay. He goes, have you noticed anything? He goes, I'm just going to go ahead and tell you because I know you're not picking up on it. I was like, no, go ahead, tell me. He goes, these are all mafia guys. They're in the mob. They were there and they were making a movie. I never caught on. They were super nice. You know what I mean? Just I would never have guessed that they were, with the mob. One of them, a son of a very famous mobster. I mean, I'm not going to say any names. You know what I mean, or
Hmm.
not like that. But one, a son of a very famous, New York mobster, and he was one of the beneficiaries. I guess put money in behind the film and stuff like that. But yeah, it was kind of wild, you know what I mean? And I was like, I never did get paid either, you know what I mean? And I was like, they kind of screwed me, and it was really nice how they did it, you know what I mean? Or like, yeah, you sign this contract. sign this contract. I think we can really help you guys out. Just go ahead and sign this. Let us have your song in this movie. And I think we could do some stuff for you guys. We're like, okay, I'll sign it. You know what I mean? So they were really nice about it. They didn't trick me or anything. You know what I mean? So, but I never did get any money, out of the movie or any residuals or anything like that. But I
Right.
was just grateful, somebody liked the song enough. They wanted to put it in a movie. I think
Yeah.
you can see it on Tubi. I think it's on Tubi right now. It's called Kiss of a Vampire. It came out like in 2010 or something like that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's you know, you'll hear stories like that and that there will be this band that rises to fame because they got in a situation like that, but you never hear about the bands that were promised fame and just got nothing out of it, you know.
Right, right. Yeah, it's a lot of heartache. That's the reason I've never really went fully into it. I've had opportunities. I had opportunities since I've been in my late 40s to go on the road with different artists.
Mm,
And I just didn't want to, you know what I mean? I'm like, I'm 50, now I'm 53, you know what I mean? I'm
right.
just looking at 12 more years, I can retire,
Yeah.
you know? So it's a young man's game, and I've seen so many people, I don't know, where the industry just destroyed them,
Mm,
you know what I mean? And I could look at other people and be like, because I mainly, like with me, I write for me. I don't think I'm great. I don't think I'm good. I just do it for my own, mental health. You know what I mean? I
yeah.
do it for my own pleasure, for my, if I like it, then I'm
Yeah.
good. But I've seen so many other people, man, they're on the road. They go on the road and they burn themselves out, or so many of them I know is like killed themselves, or you know what I mean? It's just
Yeah.
never seems like it's a happy ending, you know what I mean? I'm like, not saying don't go for your dream. I'm not trying to dash people's dreams, but
Right. Right. Right.
my experience, and I mean, I've been around it, I've been around some known artists, and so my experiences, and the funny thing is, it's like out of all the famous people I met, and you meet or get to meet, they all seem like, once you get to know them, you know what I mean, or whatnot, they all act like you're trying to fuck them over or something. You know what I mean?
Mm,
Because they've been
hmm.
fucked over or screwed over so many times. They're like,
Right.
they don't
Right.
trust anybody. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah, I mean,
And
I don't think you're saying don't go for your dreams, but you should always go into situations like this with your eyes wide open to the
right.
possibilities. You know what I would think would be fun for like you is to see you on tour with like Hank the Third. Like
Oh, that'd be awesome.
that would be a fun show to see. Or
Yeah.
Honky, you know the band Honky?
No, I haven't heard of that one. They
Oh,
pretty good?
you gotta go check out the song Undertaker by Honky. You would like it. I always say they're like
Okay, I'll
ZZ
check that
Top
out.
on meth. They're awesome.
Okay.
I love them. I saw them open up for Down years ago, and they were one of my favorite opening acts that I've seen Down like 6 times. They were one of my favorite opening acts for Down.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I tell you, some of the bands I have went and seen, I got to see like Dwight Yoakam, but it was back during the COVID area.
Mm.
So it wasn't really packed out, but man, that guy still knocks it out of the park too.
Yeah,
I was always a big Dwight.
did you just recently see Alice Cooper?
Yeah, I just seen him like I think it was last Saturday.
Oh, okay, cool.
That guy just killed it, dude. He
Yeah.
killed it. What a performer, you know. And he was still doing all the same, stuff that he always does, you know what I mean? Had cut his
Right.
head off, the guillotine and all
Yeah.
that, and just an amazing. As the one of the, I'd have to rank that as one of my best shows.
Oh yeah, he was
And
just a amazing performer.
yeah, man, he's an artsy performer too. You know what I mean? It's
Hmm.
the shock and all. That's where Marilyn Manson, all these dudes stole their stuff from. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Is that guy? But like him, and I like his new way he's turned his life around too. He's a Christian and stuff now too, so it's good to see that. But another great guy I seen live was, and it's been a few years back, is Adam and the Ant.
Oh,
Adam
really?
Ant,
Yeah.
yeah, he was really good live too, and I was such a big fan of his growing up because I've always been a historic buff, like in
Hmm.
history, and all that craziness and him and the outfits and all that. I just, it's like geared that, especially when I was a little kid, you know what I mean, when that came out.
Hmm.
But man, but still, yeah, he killed it too. I think all those old guys, man, they're just super talents because they came out in the era where you either had to sing, and if you couldn't sing, then you wasn't making it.
Yeah.
You know,
Unless your name was
there was
Bob
no
Dylan.
unless you were Bob Dylan. Yes, yeah. uh,
I
it's great,
always said that
but
like
yeah, it was a good
Eddie
run.
Vedder. I always said Eddie Vedder was like the Bob Dylan of the '90s. Like he had a better voice than Bob Dylan, but as far as storytelling, Eddie Vedder,
I
man,
think
he
you
could
do that.
write.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Eddie Vedder. I mean, when them guys came out, it was such a new sound. You know what I
Mm,
mean? When I listen to it now, it's like, but I can still think back when that came out and it sounded so new and
mm.
different.
The
You know
first
what I
time I
mean?
ever heard Black, I was just like, and still to this day, every time I listen to the song Black, I get goosebumps. It's a beautiful song.
Yeah. And it was like that was like with when the screamo bands started coming out, like Census Failed and all those bands. You know what I
Mm,
mean? And My Chemical Romance, I was like, oh my gosh, this is like metal combined with punk. You know what I mean? It was like this is the best of both worlds for me. You know what I mean?
right,
So
right.
I still listen to a lot of those bands from the early 2000s just because I was so punk driven, and then I liked metal too, and then they were like combined. I was just like,
Well, see,
just
I
great
was
stuff.
really big being from the South. I was really big into like sludge metal, like Crowbar
Hmm.
and
Oh,
bands like
okay.
that. And so the band that like transformed like my idea of music was Alice in Chains.
Alice in
When
Chains,
I
yeah.
first heard Alice in Chains, I was like, wow, this is incredible. Like, it's still to this day, it's one of my favorite bands ever.
Yeah. They were good. Yeah, Alice in Chains. Yep. When they came out, I mean, it was once again, it was that it sounded new.
Yeah.
That's how you always know when that, you know, because we were going from the hair metal,
Hmm.
then all of a sudden, you got, I can remember I was in high school when, Nirvana hit the scene.
Hmm.
And I was just like, oh my gosh. You know what I mean? It just
Right.
floored you. You knew this was it
Yeah.
and this was new. It was like, and for it to get through the cracks, I mean, it wasn't like through the cracks, but for it to get to where it was finally released because they spoon fed you so much crap back then. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? You had to go through the gatekeepers to hear a new band unless you were going out to every local show or local shows in other states or out on the street and somebody give you their
Yeah,
tape with their
you're
demo
picking
on
up
it,
mixtapes and shit. Yeah.
mixtapes and stuff. That was the only way you found new bands back then. That's the reason I like the internet now, like especially YouTube. I found and met bands, met people that seen my video and hit me up, and then I've checked their music out and been like, wow, man, you guys are really good. And they're like, yeah, you guys' stuff is really good too. And really, that's what it's about to me is like the camaraderie of creating, and I've never looked at it as a competition,
Right.
and over the years, that's the reason I think so many people has called me to play with them because I don't have an ego. I don't have you know what I mean? I've
Hmm.
done stuff, you know what I mean? Had songs in movies, uh, had songs, do good in the underground scene and stuff like that, but I never
Right.
thought much of it. You know what I mean? I'm just like, yeah, it's cool, you
Yeah.
know, but I'm one of those guys, like if I get a connection, like a radio promoter, hey man, you got a good song. Here's a guy that's helped me out. It's a radio promoter. Let me help you out. And a
Well,
lot of people ain't like
yeah,
that.
I'm a lot like that too. I find it easier to tell people about like my, let's say, podcast. I to tell people about my friend's podcast than to tell people about my podcast. I'm not out there
Right. That's the
like
way I am
I
too.
don't promote my podcast at all. I'm terrible about it. And like in all my listeners, I don't, that's all generic. I don't know where they came from. Like, and it's just, it happens to be that I have a lot of friends that have bigger podcasts. And I'm always like, yeah, you got to go check out Counterflow, or you got to go listen to Pete Quinones, or you got to go listen to this guy, because they know how to talk about this subject much more intelligently than I do. And I find that all the podcasters are listening to my podcast, which I find weird because I'm like, I'm not an influencer by any stretch of the imagination. I just like having these conversations.
Well, it's kind of like us. Our band had more of a musician following than like just a normal Joe type of following.
Right.
It
Yeah. I'm like,
kind of the same aspect.
yeah, you're like the Bill Hicks of music.
Yeah, but but yeah, it is. But it was cool. I everything I've done in life, even though it's not been super successful or anything, I've just you know I'm glad I tried and got lived the experience.
Right.
So when I'm dying, who knows when from now, I can't say, well, I didn't try, or I
Yeah.
didn't try this, or I didn't try that. You know, it's like last year I about recovered. I mean, I like my ancestry and I'm into that stuff too. I about got my ancestral home back in England. So I was
Hmm.
in, they had me in the Manchester News over there, Manchester Evening News, and uh, Manchester Mill, a bunch of different uh, articles on me. American, you know, claims that, you know what I mean, Bagley
Hmm.
Hall back, you know what I mean? Is they have to be, I didn't even intend for that to happen. I just made a video, like I just put my bid in for Bagley Hall on the internet, and then they picked up on it. And next thing you know, some guy lives over there is like, hey, did you know you're a friend of mine named David Bell Hartley? He was like, you know you're in the newspapers and stuff over here. I was like, no. He goes, yeah, you are. It was crazy, you know what I mean? But I wouldn't die hard on it, you know what I mean? So I mean, right now it didn't work out. I haven't gave up on it, but I'm like, I still believe God's going to deliver it in my hands. But I'm like, you know, but I could have not tried at all.
Yeah.
It's better to try, fail, or try and then not do anything.
Right.
So,
Right. Right.
like I said, that's what I mean too. I'm not trying to dash on people's dreams about the entertainment world, but it's like you said, keep your eyes open. There's a lot of bad people in it. There's good
Hmm.
people too,
Hmm.
but there's a lot of bad people too. So you got to watch yourself and not let nobody take advantage of you or do anything immoral with a promise either. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got to, like you said, keep your eyes open and be real to yourself, to God. You know what I mean? Let the Lord guide you, because if you do it that way and do it honestly and don't step on people or don't let nobody step on you either, but if you do it in that way, God will open the doors for you. You're going to be blessed. Just keep
That's
putting
right.
God first, and all the other things will be added on to you. But I was listening to your podcast too. I like that one you just did with that here. I think it was a couple years ago with that priest, the Orthodox priest.
Oh, Father John Whiteford. I've had him on a couple
Yeah,
of times. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I like that.
He's got his parish, St. Jonah, is about 2 hours from me up the road.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I was going to ask you, did you ever keep up on it? Whatever happened to those Ukrainian, priests that were in the caves? Did they force them out, or?
I think what I gathered from it was Ukraine kind of let off the gas there. They kind
Oh,
of,
okay, cool,
yeah,
cool.
yeah, because I believe that some of the patriarchs stepped in and were like, hey,
Awesome, man.
like,
Cool.
yeah. Okay, as y'all can see, that we are starting to wrap this up. We were coming to the end, just kind of fading out. You're not going to miss anything. But what I did tell Mr. Ed Begley I would do is I told him, excuse me, I told him that what we would do is we would get y'all one of his songs to finish out this podcast. So we are going to listen to Tattoo Billy. I think Southern Comfort State of Mind is a nice old school song that y'all would enjoy, y'all would appreciate. There's no video to it. It's just a still photo. It's about 5 minutes long, but it's a good old school country song. If you ever hung out at any of the old country honky tonks, like we did in Lake Charles. We used to hang out at Cowboys. Songs like this bring you back to them old days.
Imagine
Of
you
course,
are
there's
like
going to be an
them.
ad.
Strains happen, and sniffles, and
To
some.
skip. Fine. Hopefully you don't have
You
any
know,
sniffles.
babe, always running your mouth, giving me hell. Heartaches and pennies, I'd be a rich man. You were always standing with my heart in your hand. I'm in a southern comfort state of mind. I'm in a southern comfort state of mind. Nice place no nagging woman can find. It's a special place, it's all mine. No nagging bell from hell can find. I'm in a southern comfort state of mind. Yes, I am.